as I said, there's a lot of information out there and a lot of clever people that can do a lot of things with that information. But was it the information that we wanted? I mentioned the phone, so that sounds a bit like a contradiction because I didn't ask for that, but I found it useful. So there is a place for somebody thinking outside of the box, but that has to follow or be alongside of having very clear and understood requirements for what your business needs and where you want it to go. So we started with a user-led approach. Okay, it was, you know, not whatever did the Romans do for you, whatever did your PMO do for you. But it was about sort of challenging, what is it we need? What are my frustrations as a project manager? What are my frustrations as an executive or a senior leader in this business? And how can data help me? How can we change the decisions? How can we speed up? How can we improve certainty of outcome? And all of those things have knock-on benefits, and I'll go into those in a bit more detail. But we came up with 9 statements of truth. And I'll run through them quickly because they're at the heart. You need a driver, and you need drivers to kind of make this change. You need drivers to put the investment in, you know, whether that's time, effort, or money. And what we wanted to do, we wanted to enable us to focus on the important and interesting, and not the mundane and transactional. The mundane and transactional, the repeatability, you should be able to automate. And you should have faith in the output of that automation. And we do. We've got some examples of that. We want to make it easier to manage and control projects by having better reports and insight from our data so that they can make better decisions. A lot of backward-looking language in there, and actually the intent was that forward look. So in other words, not just knowing what we did last month, but knowing the impact it was going to have on next month. And you can get a lot just from dealing with the basics in that. So if we take something very simple, like good quality, cost, risk, and schedule data. If at the end of the month, you've used up all your risk allowance, but you haven't, in your schedule, come across all of the risks yet, there's still some risk further down the line, and you know, you're above budget. It doesn't take a genius to sort of be able to say, well, you know what, I think we're heading for an overrun on cost here, you know, or we might not meet the sort of timescales and things. However, where the intelligent PMO comes in, you can start to sort of delve into that a bit deeper. You know, why are the costs so high now? Why have we sort of pulled down all the risk money? You know, where do the inefficiencies exist? And if we carried on the same trajectory, what would that mean? Right? What could we go back to our senior leaders and say, well, this is going to cost you 30, 40 million more and you're going to be 6 months late. That level of predictability can come with sort of quite small amounts of data. But you know that. So what we also wanted to do was remove wasted efforts and manual data handling. You know, I mentioned that before in the sort of why change. Saving time by automating more of what we do, particularly in the development and design stages. PCF is our project control framework products. They produce our cost estimates, our schedules, and all those kind of things. They let us know whether it's actually worth, whether it has a benefit to the public purse of investing tens of £millions into this particular road solution. You know, the greater the certainty of output you can put at that stage, the better decisions you can make about where to place your investment. So we wanted to make those changes and understand the impact on scope. And I've mentioned cost, risk, and schedule. For them to be more quicker, visible, and therefore controllable. And we also wanted to visualize our solutions. And we're able to do that as well because we've also introduced spatial data. And we can see things, you know, when you add that to your alphanumerical data, and you start to bring in 3D spatial data, we actually now work in 3D. We can see our road being built out in 3D. We can see where the costs would come in. We can see where the key scheduling points are. we can optimize the design. We can optimize the design in terms of cost, or we can optimize it in terms of time, or carbon, or any of the other agendas that are coming out at the moment. We're able to increase the level of innovation within the supply chain because we now talk the same language. We've started to use common data standards. And when they talk about one thing, it means the same thing to us. Even where we're not kind of starting off with the same language, we've almost like got a technical Babel fish, Google Translate, that sits in between to make sure that we both mean the same thing. And we're able to use digital rehearsals and test designs and all of those kind of things, and standardized toolkits. And that is all relevant to the PMO because the data that allows those things to happen, the exploitation that I'm talking about, starts with good quality data from a good, strong PMO.